What's up, my friend? Today I'll be reacting to 25 funny differences between Canadians and Americans. This should be really funny. But before I go into that, can I ask you for one thing? If you can leave a like on this video, thank you so much, my friend. This is the best way to show support. If you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Now, link for the original video in my description, and let's see those differences.
Canada and the US have somewhat of a love-hate relationship.
Really?
It's a sibling rivalry that goes back centuries. So what exactly are the differences between the two? Today, we're going to take a look at how the longest unprotected border in the world has defined North America. I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 25 funny differences between Canadians and Americans.
Okay. I actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Americans and Canadians, they go very well. You know, they love each other. I think Canadians are great people. We have some Canadians here in our community. Our community, I'm talking about this channel on YouTube, and great people overall. So I like Canada quite a lot.
25. Canadians tend to trust authority, whereas Americans are suspicious of it. This
Really?
goes back to the fact that the Canadians remained loyal to the crown, while America showed King George the door.
This is a bit new to me. I also feel like you guys respect authorities. Police, firemen, maybe the government you guys are a bit more critical about. But I feel like Americans, maybe I'm wrong. Again, please, the comment section is for you, my friend. Feel free to leave me a comment with your perspective. But, okay.
24. Canadians bond over hockey. Americans bond over football. In general, Canadians also put less emphasis on sports.
Okay, another pause. André, you are going to pause 25 times? Probably. But actually I have a question. Hockey is also popular in America, right? I know in Canada is the main sport by a large, is the king sport basically, right? But I feel like is also very popular in America. Actually, I wonder, because the other day I ended up asking this, and some people end up giving me, answers all over the place. But is hockey more popular is hockey more popular than soccer in America? Because I feel like soccer is also growing a lot, right? I would love that soccer was bigger than hockey. Nothing against hockey, but I love soccer.
23. Canadians spend a lot of time comparing themselves to the US. Americans don't think about Canada very often at all. Actually, almost never.
With all the respect to my Canadians viewers, the reason is America is number one. Of course, you look to the number one, and the number one does not look to the number two. It is what it is.
I love you, Ken. And all my Canadian friends. This is in jest, dear God. 22. Some parts of Canada sell milk in bags.
And that's weird.
Bagged milk would be highly suspicious in the US. I'd totally drink it.
No.
Best beverage. Oh, no, absolutely.
No, milk is fantastic.
Milk is the best beverage in the world.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And it comes in chocolate.
I disagree.
I actually don't like chocolate as much.
That's weird.
I prefer white. I can do it. I prefer... 21. The US sees itself as a melting pot. That was a good restaurant. While Canada sees itself as a mosaic. The difference is very slight, but basically in the US, there's more mixing and blending between immigrant cultures, while in Canada, immigrants tend to keep more of their language and traditions rather than mix with others. 20.
To be honest, I feel like there is quite less immigrants on Canada comparing with America, right? Maybe because America also have more opportunities, so more people try to go there. But yeah.
Canadians have more of a tall poppy syndrome, which is a tendency to distrust or discredit anyone who stands out in a prominent position or wealth. In this sense, Canada is a lot more like Europe. Conformity is more encouraged in Canada than in the US. If America does well at anything, it's encouraging innovation and non-conformity. 19.
But that's a bad thing, honestly. Wait, actually, To be honest, I believe this is almost capitalism versus socialism in a weird way. You know what I mean? But I prefer the American way on this one, being honest, and I don't want to go into politics, but innovation is the most important thing.
It's encouraging innovation and non-conformity.
19.
Canadians love their flag, but Americans seem to love their flag more. Seriously, nobody beats America at flags. You can't beat Canadians at maple syrup, though.
To be honest, the Canadian flag is a cool one. I love the leaf on the middle. But yeah, the American flag is yeah, I don't know, it's different, my friend. I love the American flag. I'm actually thinking about buying one to put right there. Would that be weird, by the way? A Portuguese guy with the American flag? I would respect the flag, so I think that's fine, right?
18.
Canadians put more emphasis on higher education. Actually, Canada puts more emphasis on it than any other country in the world. It leads the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, with 53% of the population having a college education.
Oh,
the
that's
OECD
good.
average is 32%.
17.
Well,
Canadians generally approve of their government. Americans hate and distrust theirs. This boils down to the fact that the Canadians see government as a good thing, while Americans see it as a necessary evil.
6.
that's really interesting. But I thought that was related with authorities. Maybe I'm actually wrong, so never mind what I said at the beginning.
16.
Americans are more individualistic. This goes back to the Wild West
Really?
mentality. The very word Canada, on the other hand, is derived from a local Iroquoian word for village. Canadians are more communally minded.
15.
Okay.
Canada's right wing is America's left wing. In the political sense, Canadian...
What? What? Wait, did I understand? Okay. So the left wing in Canada is really left. Is that the case? Is the extreme? Oh boy.
15.
Canada's right wing is America's left wing. In the political sense, Canadian politics tend to be more liberal. This doesn't mean that Canada doesn't have conservative politics. It certainly does. The political system is a lot less polarized, however, and doesn't pull to the extremes as much. It has 5 primary political parties.
14.
Both
Okay.
Americans and Canadians think they're more free. In Canada, this is due to more progressive policies. In the US, it's due to lack of government policies.
13.
Americans are more confrontational. Not necessarily in a bad way, but Canadians are more likely to just hold everything in and let it stew. Or apologize.
12.
Canadians pretend Canada has no problems. America pretends the US just has quirks.
11.
Honestly, I was not aware of most of this stuff, my friends. And I'm sure a couple of you guys will disagree with these points. And I say this all the time, but the comment section is for you, my friends. So feel free to express, as long, of course, very respectful. That is the only way to interact in this community, is being respectful. But, okay.
Canadians don't get to experience the joys of Pandora and Spotify due to licensing restrictions.
10.
And they think they are more free? I'm sorry, I have to say, that makes no sense.
Although Canadians do feel quite a bit of connection with their province/city, Americans identify much more with their state than they do with the country as a whole, except for Quebec, Canada.
Okay, I have to ask this, and please do not go crazy into politics in the comment section, even though my question will be related with that. But I saw on the news that there is some problems between Texas and the President Joe Biden when it comes to the security of the border. Am I saying something off? That was news here in Portugal. So, but I did not understood that well what's going on. If you guys could give me an update, I would appreciate that.
As Texas.
9.
Canadians talk about the war of 1812 a lot. Americans aren't quite sure what that is. Boston Tea Party, anyone?
8.
No idea.
Canadians are more passive-aggressive. A good example of this would be tribalism and all of its derivatives. While it's more overt in the US, that doesn't mean it's any less in Canada. It just comes out in a more backhanded fashion.
7.
Okay.
Canadians brag about how cold it is, while Americans brag about how warm it is. Unless you live in Minnesota, then you're basically Canadian.
6.
Is that true? The north in America is also very cold. Canada is worst in terms of weather, right? But okay.
6.
Americans are much more polarized on almost everything. But then again, there are more people in just California than all of Canada, so it makes sense that Canadians would be more unified.
5.
In the US, talking about American politics is taboo, but in Canada, talking about American politics is a national pastime.
4.
Really?
Canadians-
But that just shows how much they care about America because, Americans do not talk about Canada politics, I would assume.
are more likely to take off their shoes in the house. Of course, this depends on location.
Wait, sorry?
Canadians are more likely to take
Americans or Canadians? Actually not understood.
politics is a national pastime.
4.
Canadians are more likely to take off their shoes in the house. Of course, this depends on location, but in many parts of the US, walking with shoes in the house is acceptable.
Oh, no. This is not acceptable, my friend. Okay. I know I have everyone mad at me. But inside of the house, there is no shoes. In my house. No chance. I mean, makes sense, right?
Maybe it's the cowboy influence.
3.
Canadians think Canada is completely different from the US. Americans, on the other hand, don't notice much of a difference between the two countries. As a note, from a European perspective, any differences will seem a bit overstated.
2.
Americans have it easier when it comes to shopping online. In Canada, many stores don't offer online shopping, and many of them don't even have a website to begin with.
Oh, wow.
1.
Canada has 2 official languages on a national level, English and French. Americans have no official language on a national level.
To be honest, the first time I saw a video explaining this blew my mind. I really thought English was the official language of America. I know most, 80%, 90% talks English, right? But speaks English, but come on, I really thought it was the official language.
French. Americans have no official language on a national level.
It's crazy.
Each state decides whether or not to adopt English as an official language. Tristan, we should go to Canada one day.
I'd love to.
Let's do it. You want to
This
go now?
was a fun video, to be honest.
We got some hockey to watch. Actually, by the time this video comes out, I think the Stanley Cup playoffs will be over.
I don't like hockey anyways.
Go Preds! What? No, we're gonna go watch hockey. Let's go. To hockey!
Honestly, hockey is a brutal sport, right, my friends? I really believe it's a bit underrated when it comes... Everyone talks about NFL and stuff like that, and I know NFL is crazy, and rugby is also crazy. But hockey is also brutal. I watched a couple of highlights, and holy moly, that's... they even fight. That's really crazy if you really think about it. But yeah, my friends, I thought this was a good video. I'm not sure if I agree or disagree. Probably, a couple of things I disagree. But other things, I don't have a strong opinion. That's why I should be careful. The thing about authorities ended up surprising me a bit, because I really thought Americans also respect authorities. I thought it was more about the government, but I don't know. He also made a point about that. So yeah, my friends, do not forget to leave a like, and great video. And that's it for today, my friends. Hope you end up enjoying this video. If that's the case, do not forget to leave a like. Also consider to subscribe if you are new to my channel. And also let me remember you about one thing. I have a Patreon community. I put videos there a bit earlier than I put on YouTube. So if you want to support me and have access to early content, go to my Patreon. I will leave a link on my description. Take a look at that. You can also scan the QR code you'll be seeing here. And that's it.